ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
We just heard them shooting. My daughter, who's 17, obviously was frightened for her life.
A pursuit through the South Bay ends in a deadly police shooting. Good evening. I'm Steve Atkinson.
And I'm Kimberly Hunt. ABC 10 News reporter Anthony Pura is in Chula Vista with what police are saying about the man shot.
Police are still here on scene several hours after the shooting. Police have identified the suspect as 33-year-old David Angulo, and they say he was wanted for some serious crimes and was a danger to the community. It was a chaotic scene at Otay Lakes Road and Rutgers Avenue. Chula Vista police roped off a large section of this neighborhood. A car turned on its side and a blue pickup badly damaged. Police say it's the result of a chase that started near Main Street and Maxwell Road. That's where officers saw someone carjack this blue pickup at gunpoint. When officers tried to pull him over for a traffic stop, the suspect led them on a pursuit.
That pursuit went out to the east area of Chula Vista near the lakes. The pursuit then came back towards East Lake and eventually came to this intersection here where it appears that the suspect lost control of his vehicle and hit the vehicle behind me that's on its side.
And all of a sudden, there was this blue truck that flew right by us.
Diana Townsend was driving with her children on Otay Lakes Road when the pickup truck struck the other car. The driver of that vehicle was taken to the hospital. Police say the suspect then jumped out of the pickup and tried to break into a home with a family inside.
At that point, officers were in pursuit. They jumped out of their vehicle. At that point, they saw the subject with the gun in his hand. At that point, there was an unknown number of shots fired between the suspect and the officers.
We just heard them shooting. My daughter, who's 17, obviously was frightened for her life. She started ducking in the car, and I started ducking because we didn't know where the gunshots were coming from.
Police say the suspect was shot. They gave him medical aid, but he died on scene. Police have identified him as 33-year-old David Angulo, connected to at least 3 shootings in the area. Police say he is a known gang member. Police say there were 3 officers involved in the shooting. None were injured. In Chula Vista, Anthony Pura, 10 News.
Thank you, Anthony. And today, both Governor Gavin Newsom and San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulconer took action to help businesses affected by the latest shutdowns. Mayor Faulconer signed an executive order letting gyms, churches, salons, and barber shops expand outside into private parking lots. One business owner in Miramar said without this move, he may not have lasted more than a couple of months.
I'm glad for the executive order, but it would not have been pretty. Like all hardworking Americans, and we probably would have faded into the darkness too.
And about an hour after Mayor Faulconer signed his order, the governor took similar action for the state. Before now, there had been a lot of confusion and concern and confusion about whether barbershops and salons were even allowed to by the state to move outside. Well, this afternoon, Governor Newsom said his intent was for that to be clear last week, but there were some issues that needed a few days to be worked out.
It turns out, without getting into too many details, but issues of chemicals and shampoos and perms, it was more complicated than some had considered, particularly as it relates to local ordinances and rules and regulations that were in place. So we worked through that over the last number of days, and those new guidelines are up, and hopefully that provides some more clarity.
There are several strict conditions the governor put in place for those businesses now to move outside. We put that list on 10news.com.
And here are the latest numbers for San Diego County. 453 new cases were reported today, bringing the total to 24,135. No additional deaths were reported today, so that number remains at 478.
State and local CIF officials announced today the fall season will not be canceled. However, it will be delayed. The fall sports include football, water polo, volleyball, and cross country. The CIF San Diego section said the local season will start mid-December. The other sports will follow after that. Now, we spoke with Ethan Knight, one of the Otay Ranch High School football team captains. He says this delay will only give him more time to train.
This quarantine will show how dedicated you are.
How much do you like football?
I love it so much. I wake up at 6 in the morning every day and just work out.
Well, this also could impact some multi-sport players, with some sports now in the same season instead of consecutive ones. CIF San Diego section will release their finalized sports calendar August 14th.
A project that replaced the historic Anthony's Fish Grotto along the San Diego Bay is finally complete. Mayor Kevin Faulkner joined the port this afternoon for a ribbon cutting of Portside Pier, set to officially open next week. Our ABC 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo shows us how these businesses plan to open amid a pandemic.
Once fully staffed, Portside Pier will employ roughly 300 people. This project just the first of several projects on the waterfront.
It's what the developers, owners, and the city hope will become an iconic view of San Diego Bay's North Embarcadero.
It's really an extreme makeover of the waterfront, if you will.
Portside Pier, an over-the-water dining complex 5 years in the making, with a price tag of over $20 million, 4 restaurant types, and views of the bay.
It's Mexican food, seafood, a coffee and gelato bar, and a pub fare type concept.
Portside Pier replacing Anthony's Fish Grotto, a staple on the bay for 52 years. The dining complex now owned by the Brigantine.
It's obviously a less than ideal time to be opening. We really didn't have much control over the pandemic.
Opening amid a pandemic means the restaurants will open with limited capacity.
500 seating capacity with physical distancing, so they've got plenty of outdoor space for folks to come down and enjoy it.
Fortunately for the port and for the Brigantine, the complex was designed with plenty of outdoor space. The only way they'll be able to serve customers for now.
I would say it's probably going to cut business volume in half. That being said, it's always difficult to open a new restaurant.
The restaurants officially open Tuesday, July 28th. Laura Acevedo, ABC 10 News.
San Diego County is expanding its team of case investigators to help handle the recent surge of coronavirus cases. And they help with contact tracing and determine who may have been exposed to the virus. County leaders say each of us can play a role in tracing.
And if you get a test result that's positive, the best contact tracer is you. That is turning to the people that you know and that you are in a household with and that you work with to let them know as quickly as possible.
Dr. Eric McDonald says it requires personal responsibility to take action. When you know you're sick, you know your test result, and you know who your contacts are. The county says there will be almost 100 more case investigators starting Friday, and it's hiring more than 200 others.
It's parents doing what they can to help each other out and, help their kids have that social growth.
With virtual learning a near guarantee for the next school year, a group of North County parents is hoping to avoid the pitfalls they saw this past spring. It's called Microschool. ABC 10 News reporter Michael Chen tells us what it is and why one of the parents involved says it all depends on families trusting each other.
This was 6-year-old Ellie Tessa speaking Spanish while distance learning a few months ago. As she and her brother Ethan were learning, their dad, a college professor, and mom, a lawyer, were working from home.
So that when they had questions, which were constant, I'd be able to help them.
Julie Tessa says the end result was stressful.
Trying to get kids that age to sit in front of a computer and stay focused for an extended period of time was just a challenge. And when you're working full time, it's a constant interruption.
All that mental juggling, a distraction for her own work.
Well, working 12 to 15 hour days and on the weekends to make up for it.
So when she and her husband were planning for the upcoming school year at Valley Elementary, they knew they needed help.
It's a total of 3 families, and it's families that we know and we trust.
3 families with kids in the same school and same grades as her children. Julie says they're planning on forming a rotating micro school of sorts. Every third day, each household will take a turn hosting all 8 kids, guiding them through the day of virtual learning.
You have parents who are able to dedicate the time to make sure that the kids stay on task, to take them outside and play with them.
Julie says their microschooling concept offers something that is in short supply with distance learning.
With reading and math, somebody needs to be there to review your work. With the distance learning, I believe they're going to have some one-on-one, but a majority of the day, the kids are still going to be working on their own.
Julie hopes this parental co-op approach will give the parents a break and their kids a chance to socialize. And while there will be precautions taken,
You're not sharing food and washing your hands.
Julie says it may not be realistic to keep kids at that age from interacting with each other. She'll be relying on the parents to be honest about any signs of illness.
Trust each other to follow the protocols.
Michael Chen, ABC 10 News.
Julie says on her days, she's hoping that between she and her husband, they'll be able to split up the duties.
With distance learning expected to be in place to start this school year, some parents are looking into other options. Our new Ask the Expert series will work to best answer your questions. So tomorrow, we will be joined by Dr. Joseph Lathan from the University of San Diego. He has 20 years of experience with online learning and will offer advice to help parents navigate this new challenge. If you have a question for Dr. Lathan, join us tomorrow morning at 9:15 on our ABC 10 News Facebook page, or send us your questions to tips@10news.com. And take a look at this. Tonight, the convention center was lit up in red, white, and blue in honor of Congressman John Lewis. The civil rights leader passed away Friday after battling stage 4 pancreatic cancer. He attended Comic-Con several times. In fact, in 2015, he led a group of students in an impromptu march through the convention center.